Hello, good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to our webinar. We are happy you are joining. So we give all the participants time to join properly. So we will start the webinar in about 3-4 minutes. So take your time, feel comfortable, and then we start. Good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to our webinar. We are happy you're joining us, and we will start in about 3 to 4 minutes. We keep waiting for all the participants, and yeah, take your time. And as I said, after 3-4 minutes, we will start with the webinar. Maybe we should use some music next time for this part of the webinar. So maybe some Beethoven or whatever. So good afternoon, good morning, everybody. We are waiting for all the people joining the webinar, and yeah, we will start in about 2 minutes. Take your time. Give us just 2 minutes, and then we are ready to go. So I see again people joining. Very good. Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to our webinar. We will start shortly. So just another minute, and then we are good to go. So we can do, before we start, we can just do a good do a quick check if everybody can hear me loud and clear, and you see the screen. Just raise your hand. You have a button on top, and you can raise your hand, and if everything is okay, please let us know. Okay, wonderful. See some raised hands from Germany. Thank you. Very good. Very good. So it seems to be that the technique is running smoothly. Very good. And now we have 4 minutes after. In Germany, it's 4 minutes after 5. In India, it's 3.5 hours later. But I think we are now good to go. So I will kick off and start the webinar. Yes, again, good morning, good afternoon, and welcome everybody to our webinar Snackification 3.0. My name is Dirk Bolt, and I'm leading the business development for Ingenious eBrain in Europe. Today, together with my esteemed colleague Devendra Jadhav, we will take you on a very interesting journey and show how consumer preferences are changing the future of snackification, or of snacking, I'm sorry. But before we go into the topic, I would like to briefly touch on 2 points. There's a small point logistics for the webinar. The webinar is scheduled for 60 minutes, and we will finish promptly because we would like to keep your follow-up appointments. The webinar will be recorded. So after the webinar, you will receive an email with a summary, and of course with a link, and which you can use if you want to replay it. You will be muted so that all participants can follow the webinar properly. After the presentation of my colleague, you will have the opportunity to ask questions. Therefore, please use the chat button on the top navigation bar. And enter your questions. We will read them out and, of course, answer them. So this is just a small logistic for the webinar, that everybody knows how it will run. And yeah, before we go into depth, I would like to introduce Ingenious eBrain. We, Ingenious eBrain, are an award-winning global acting consulting company with offices in the US, in Europe, in Japan, and as well in India. We have been on the market since more than a decade. So we start our business 2012. And since that, we realized more than 5,000 projects for our clients. We provide our expertise into various industries, including automotive, energy, healthcare, and of course, food and beverage, and many more. So who are the speakers today? I shortly introduced myself already, so maybe just a little bit more of my background. I'm an 25 or 30 years experienced electrical engineer. Worked in Europe for multiple well-known brand, and yeah, spent the last 3 years on hydrogen, on the hydrogen economy, specifically on hydrogen storage solutions. My dear colleague Devendra is a group manager of and is leading our food and beverage operations. With over 17 years in technology research, he is really a seasoned strategist and business developer. And so he will guide us today through this webinar. So what is the content we are talking about? I think Devendra has brought us very interesting topics today. Under the headline Snackification, you will receive interesting first-hand background information. So we look on the topic from the evolution of the market, outlook, and the dynamics, and the overview of strategic measures taken by market leaders. I think this is a very interesting agenda we put here together. So let's kick off. Let's start with a brief look at how the topic has developed since the 90s. Snackification has transformed from quick fix convenience in the 2000s to a wellness-centric movement today, fueling not just bodies, but minds and lifestyles. What began as a processed on-the-go bites is now a purpose-driven evolution of clean, functional, and clinical-backed nutrition for all ages. For all of us, it's a daily routine, I would say, with different effects. Now let us dive into the snackification topic. I wish you an interesting and entertaining event. I would like to hand over to my dear colleague Devendra.
Thank you, Doug, for the kind introduction and setting the stage for me. Hello, everyone. A very warm welcome to today's session. I will dive deep into the topic and share some of the emerging innovations and the commercial solution that is actually shaping the snackification 3.0 era. So when we talk about what kind of different innovations is happening around that, so it is majorly around the different kind of ingredients that supports a specific benefits. For example, let's say microbiome, nootropic or functional ingredients. So even that there is a lot of the solution, the ingredients from the China side or the Korea side, probably because they are very rich in their herbal heritage. So for example, let's say in the microbiomes, there are the different strains of these particular probiotics. They are actually being explored, or probably they are just going to file a kind of specific patent around that, so that they can have this kind of ingredient protected, and that is intended towards more including them in those kind of functional snacks product categories. So likewise, if you see the nootropic, so the one of the very remarkable things that we can see, apart from the herbal or let's say other mushroom derived ingredients, we also see some of the probiotic category of drug ingredients. They may also have the potential to improve the cognitive impairments, and in fact, there are the innovations around that where they are actually incorporating in the different product types. For example, let's say bar, ice cream, or biscuits. Mushroom is also tracking attraction here. For example, let's say for such kind of improving the cognition function, especially for the beverages. And the one of the leading players like Coca-Cola, so they are using like gamma aminobutyric acid, caffeine for the improving this cognitive function, mood, stress, and alertness in the beverages segments. So all these kind of innovation that you can see as a quick snapshot. So they are very recent one, probably in the last couple of years. So the kind of different ingredients they are actually using for the different benefits properties. So likewise, if I just talk about some of the commercial solutions where we can see some of the tested cases and the real-time examples where the product is out there for the market with respect to different categories. So for example, let's say bar, ice cream, other gummies, chips. So all the different product categories that has really introduced such products with the incorporation of such ingredients. So for example, let's say General Mills, they have launched this particular bar with symbiotic categories with the combined active ingredients is the more kind of, psyllium, inulin, and the bacillus coagulans as a probiotics. And further, in order to develop such kind of products, from where they are sourcing these particular ingredients, so that's from the Kerry group for the supporting digestive health and the relief constipation. So likewise, another one you can see from the DTCX for the most nootropic category of ingredients like omega-3, phosphatidylserine, choline for boosting cognition function. So likewise, if I just dive into the functional protein category, so for example, let's say pea protein combined with some kind of other ashwagandha, it also helps a kind of boost mood and increase the energy and focus. So like if I just talk about what are the major product formats where such kind of ingredients has been used for the formulation or the reformulation strategy. So it's a clear cut like bar is the major one who actually leading this particular segment. And the second one comes like the ice creams. For example, let's say in this particular section we have also see like some kind of yogurts combined with some prebiotic probiotics from the different microbiome categories. They are utilizing to develop such kind of healthy ice cream. And Chris Hansen is the one like who are actually providing such kind of specific probiotic species for the development of Alex ice cream. So likewise in the Koyo, that is they have developed a specific ice cream containing the nootropic category of ingredients like rhodiola extract, tobacco extract, L-theanine extracts. So most of the times they need to use the blend of different ingredients of the same categories in order to provide the kind of optimal benefits. And similarly, like, the chocolates, beverages, cookies categories, they are not really actually untouched. In fact, we can see the commercial products are being developed under the different probiotic, prebiotic, and other functional proteins categories. For example, let's say if I just talk about the functional chocolate company, so of course they are using this new topic ingredients that is very specific, the chocolate means. So that is a RFI ingredients, and they have also kind of filed a patent around that for the supporting the cognition effect. And further, if I see the beverages category, so in the beverages, like majorly with the microbiome categories, prebiotic, probiotic, postbiotic. So there's one products from the B label. So they are actually using all combination, like prebiotic, probiotic, and the Saccharomyces cerevisiae as a postbiotic uh, for the providing kind of very healthy and nutrition rich beverage. So, and for the varieties, like, the another one where they are further exploring the different categories of nootropics, like, L-theanine, natural caffeine from the green coffees, organic matcha, for bringing such kind of, stress and anxiety busters. Cookies, that's another categories where they are utilizing such kind of, microbiome, or let's say symbiotic categories of the ingredients to support the digestive and immune health. Chips, gummies, yogurts. So these are the another product formats where we can see the traction, like all the different kind of ingredient categories have been utilized for the providing different benefits under the gut health, or let's say the cognition, or let's say altogether providing kind of stamina boost or the performance. So not necessarily we can see, like of approximately all the different product formats actually it is touching, and probably later on probably it may also touch upon to those product formats that is not very much commercially exploited right now. Now, just coming to the scientific and clinical evidence. So one thing is very important for formulation of such kind of snacks. So for example, let's say if I need to just claim, like I am just going to use a specific snacks for the cognitive function. So the next question is like whether it is a scientifically backed, evidence supported or not. So in that context, it is very important to see like how these different research institute, universities, academia, they are actually you working on this particular aspects, what are the specific active ingredients they are actually utilizing for conducting such kind of safety, efficacy, and potency study. And further, they are establishing the kind of very positive outcome. For example, let's say how much concentration of a specific dose for a what long times can be used for the improving a specific, let's say, cognition function, or let's say working memory. So likewise, you can see like PepsiCo is working with Northumbria University in Newcastle, where they are actually researching on the different apple extract, coffee berry extract, blueberry extract as a new topic kind of category of drugs to reduce the fatigue and boost alertness, and also aging, depression, and anger. So likewise, you can see the for the different microbiome categories, they are actually researching on the different probiotic strains combined with other kind of ingredients like oat milk for the utility into the ice cream for enhancing the probiotic survival and the boost antioxidant activities. So in summary, we can see like even that a lot of research institutes, so they are actually working and they are actually coming with a very kind of positive outcomes for the different ingredients. So there is no scarcity of the ingredients, but it all depends like how they are actually testing for a specific property and benefits. Now, just coming to the clinical evidence. So, for example, let's say if they are doing some kind of clinical trials that is, available through the different clinical registry portals. So here you can see, some of the remarkable specific active ingredients under a category of nootropic and micro categories utilized for this providing specific benefits. And further, some of the specific concentration. For example, let's say the one up from the universities from the Singapore. So they are further disclosing, for example, let's say the 10 billion of the probiotics in the 100 ml milk. If that's a doses concentration, and it is encompassing this lactobacillus paracasseis and spirota for providing such kind of cognition effects. So these are some recent trials that you can see. Likewise, for the coffee berry and other nootropic agents for the mental fatigue, alertness, mood, and cognition with a concentration of let's say 100 mg or let's say 300 mg. And in the functional proteins, if we see the chickpea is actually being trialed for these satiating effects, where 45.40% will be good enough to bring that kind of specific benefits. Collagen peptides, so even that for the beauty skin, also the beauty health, so such kind of protein peptides category of proteins, they are actually being also researched in the concentration of let's say 5 gram per day for the skin condition improvement. So the beauty health is the someone where most of the consumers, they are going to focus by utilizing such kind of specific category of ingredients. So the nutritions, through nutrition, probably they are just going to develop more kind of beauty healthcare kind of context. And if I just talk about, for example, let's say with respect to the intensity of different clinical trials, for example, let's say overall, if I see in the microbiome categories, we have the major clinical trials published, and 71%, and the rest 29% we can see on the nootropic. So of course, as we see, the microbiome category is getting matured day by day with different novel strains being explored. So of course, there is a lot of utility and application as well in the different scientific and clinical trials format. And of course, when it comes to the specific clinical trials, so compared to the significant research evidence or let's say scientific publications, so the clinical trials are completely less. But of course, this particular traction is happening from the last 4 to 5 years. So of course, as we progress, we can see the more quantum of these particular ingredients trials under the microbiome nootropic categories. Functional protein, something, for example, let's say it's a very well established in this particular spectrum. Now, just coming to the next segment, that is a market position and the key dynamics. So now here the question is what actually leading to the overall this particular market dynamics. So if I just talk about what are the specific market size for the different category of these particular ingredients in the terms of position from the 2024 to 2030. So if you see the nutritional probiotics category, so for example, let's say it is expected to grow with the CAGR of 14.16% from the 2024 to 2030, and it can reach $197 billion from the 89 as a start of 2024. So for this particular probiotic category is the major one, and probably that is accelerating with a rapid pace compared to the other category of ingredients. For example, let's say the functional proteins and the this particular brain health food. So that is coming at the second and third positions. And now the focus is not the functional protein, because that particular market is almost getting saturated. So when it comes to the nootropic applications or let's say other nutritional probiotics, so we can see the rate of growth is definitely high. If I just talk about the region-wise market segmentation, so North America in all these different ingredient category is leading, followed by the APAC and the Europe, and thereafter, the Middle East, Africa, or Latin America. So you can see there is a slight, percentage differences in terms of the different category for this MEA, Latin America, and the other North America. But of course, overall, we see the overall the trends remain same, which particular country is actually leading in this particular different category of ingredients for the adoption of the different snacks. Now, just coming to what are the key drivers, restaurant opportunities and challenges. So we know, nowadays everyone is actually looking for the functional side. They do not want to eat the snacks just for the sake of eating, but of course they want to have the actual benefits. So there is a kind of increased awareness of the gut health and probiotics, and further their mental wellness is also being very much streamlined, because not currently these mental benefits are majorly through the different pharmaceutical segment of category, or let's say other nutritional supplements. But of course now, since we do want to just keep that as the part of our daily snack routine, then of course the peoples are preferring such kind of nootropic ingredients for their daily snacks. So these are the certain drivers. And now the question is like restraint. So when it comes to the specific regulatory restriction on these particular health claims and limiting, so this is the major one, the restriction. For example, let's say, of course, most of the trials are at a very early stage right now, and of course, once they enter into the clinical stage after the preclinical passing, so of course there is a long way to go till the final formulation into the commercial products and reach into the markets. So those kind of the clinical evidence based support, scientific evidence, regulation restrictions, so this will still remain some kind of challenge for the all those snack leaders who are actually working in this particular area. In the meantime, it also comes with a lot of opportunities, because now the postbiotic ingredients that is further evolving with a rapid pace, because since we are using a kind of inactivated form of different uh, this probiotic strains. So of course the harsh condition of a different GI, or let's say other medium, so it will not impact much on the survival of all this kind of probiotic postbiotic ingredients. So probably we can see apart from this probiotic, probably the postbiotics will have the more quick adoptions once the specific efficacy and its scientific evidence is completely supported. Novel protein of different sources, like the algae, fungi, insects, they are also being parallelly explored. Of course, if I just talk about the insect proteins, that has been very maturely explored for the poultry, or let's say other animal or livestock animals. But of course, since now if the regulation supports, then probably this particular insects protein will also have the adoption for the human application, since in this is such a small tiny uh, organisms, we can have the ample amount of proportionate per protein concentration. Now the challenge, like the ingredient stability and bioavailability. So in order to incorporate such ingredient in specific snack formats, so its stability throughout the shelf life of that product, so that should be ensured. And further, now the next challenge, like whether the consumer had that kind of degree of confidence, like the if I'm just using a specific snacks comprising the nootropic ingredients, so is it really going to live up to my expectation? Will it will really give up those kind of sufficient clinical evidence, or probably it is just giving a being a kind of bad experience, like the off notes, or it's a sensory challenge. So this is the another one of the challenge, technical challenges, when we incorporate such kind of ingredients into our different snacks formulation. So that's why, so that further led me to just develop kind of what could be the reformulation strategy going ahead, if I need to develop kind of some kind of functional snacks. So that comes to the next stage of the product formulation strategy. So here for the different category of ingredients, so holistically, if we see, if I just want to develop a specific microbiome boosting ingredients, so typically it is preferable if we can use the some prebiotic fibers like inulin, or let's say fructose acacia gum, that offers actually both digestive support plus texture benefits. So the selection of those particular probiotic fibers is very important. That will have the kind of dual benefits, and further include those kind of postbiotics or heat stable probiotics to overcome shelf life, or let's say stability issues. So those selections from the postbiotic side. And further, if we just want to go for the fermented ingredients, then like some of the fermented oats, cassava, or soya, so they should be actually preferred for the delivering functions and the flavor. So of course, as you can see, like not the only property, but it's two or more than different properties of ingredient actually that is preferred for such kind of food formulation. So that's a kind of best practices. But when it comes to the further, combined with some other balancing act. So for example, let's say in the microbiome boosting ingredients, we can further pair some kind of bitter, sour, or microbial ingredients with some of the natural flavors or the fruit-based sweeteners like the monk fruit or apple extract. And further, you can use the fiber-rich carriers like shea, flax that can add a kind of a bulk, clean label appeal, and the prebiotic synergy. Moving to the nootropic components. So, for example, let's say, as I said, the clinically backed nootropics should be the more preferable one, like L-theanine, lion's mane mushroom, or let's say Rhodia rosea, or caffeine from the green tea or the guasua. So, and further, you can leverage different botanical extract with the dual roles like adaptogens and ashwagandha. So, for example, let's say in order to get a full-fledged benefit of these nootropic ingredients, in the most of the cases, they are also blending with the adaptogens to reduce the stress first, and thereafter we have the combined cognition improvement effect. And the balancing act for such kind of nootropic components, like we can have the micro dosing nootropics to maintain the regulatory safety and avoid off notes. So like since these are the CNS targeted kinds of ingredients, so their specific dose in a very lower range should be very clearly defined, so that it will not brings to the lot of addition kind of scenario, and mask some of the earthy or bitter notes like cocoa, coconut cream, or let's say vanilla extract. So here you can use as kind of blends of different theanine, caffeine, GABA plus adaptogens in the very micro doses to synergize all these effects while also maintaining the clean taste and transparency. And further, if I just take out, if I need to develop a kind of functional proteins snacks, so in that, most of the different blends of the protein sources, for example, it's just the protein from the pea, rice, shea, or the pumpkin. So why such kind of blending is required? So that at least we can ensure there is a kind of, a complete proportion of different amino acids actually utilized for the present molecule. Further, we can also have the emphasize the fermented, sprouted, or let's say enzymatically treated proteins for the better digestibility and the less grittiness. And we can also consider some kind of novel source of these particular ingredients as a algae insect, or let's say precision fermentation techniques derived as a different well-established advantages. And further combined with nut butters, plant fats, and other ingredients, or let's say additives to provide a texture, creaminess, and smoothness. So those are definitely can be used as a kind of balancing act for the reformation strategy. So now the further, in order to develop such kind of a category of the ingredients or snacks, so of course taste and texture optimization is also required. And in the meantime, so, doing the kind of clean label excellence, like it's a non-GMO, natural colors, so those kind of allergen free. So those different connotation of having the complete transparency in terms of consumers purview to be make it more adaptable and perceivable for the consumers in the different categories. Now, just coming to the next part, like how the sustainable packaging is actually evolving in this particular snackification 3.0 category. So here you can see like different packaging format more from the sustainability side. For example, let's say one company as a Nuanos from the United States, they have prepared this kind of cup-based yogurt that is completely prepared from the recycled or let's say recycled cardboard, or let's say even that grass paper. And so because the features of this packaging, they are very lightweight, and they can be detached, and further they also have the very superior recyclability outcomes. And further, we also check like what is the overall sustainability context in terms of how much carbon footprints it can reduce, and how much plastic reduction we are actually going to do once we switch over to specific kind of product packaging category. So for this particular solution category, you can see the solution is actually provided from the Austria-based Grenier Packaging. So one of the established player in the Australia. So likewise, if we just go into the wrapper category, so there's another all real natural protein bar. So that is actually utilizing a kind of a compostable wrapper, bio-based paper, or let's say wood pulp derived metallized cellulose films. So the further advantage and the claims of sustainable packaging that, like, it is programmed in such a way that it can decompose within the 26 weeks in the home composting environment. So it's a completely made from the renewable source, like, source paper and wood pulp. And further, just if we entering into the nootropic drinks, so for example, let's say here the Bright from the United Kingdom, so they are using the can as a complete aluminum, and it's completely having the 100% recyclability features, and also having the very good kind of barrier properties with respect to light, oxygen, and moisture. Now, just moving to the consumer insight, because we also try to see, like, what is the overall global scenarios talk about with respect to the different consumer insights. So, based on this, we can see, like, 74% of the global consumers, so they actually preferring more on the, emotional well-being. So, for example, so mental wellness is their priority in the today's fast-paced world, and the more they are actually getting aware or recognizable to such kind of ingredients, of course their inclination is further shifting more towards that. And in the functional nutrition, like, 42% we can see of the global consumers, they actually support their body and nutritional goals. So the 42% lies in those particular categories. And now the another 74% categories that actually fall into the personalized nutrition, because their context is like, they want to have the nutrition very personalized as per their vital statistics, vital parameters, their metabolic or let's say body health needs. So those kind of, AI-based personalized nutrition is another one where we can incorporate such kind of functional ingredients to bring more kind of targeted or let's say precise precision nutrition context. If we see the demographic wide snacking overview out of different generation of categories, for example, let's say Gen Z and millennials. So I think of the totals global, and so at least you can see 46% and they prefer to boost my mood, so that's their preference. And 30%, 31% they say, like, from the Gen X and the boomers category, like, they want to have that for the boosting their moods. So for example, for the sense of comfort or to relax, relieve anxieties. So likewise you can see how the different category of generation of these particular consumers, they are having the more preference. Some of them, they are actually also utilizing just to connect with others in their social ecosystem. So that's another area where actually they are simply utilizing such kind of snacks. Now just coming to the different evolving trends. So of course we know, like, since we have talked about the more functionality ingredient specific, but when it comes to the overall providing kind of thrust to the developments or the growth, of course AI is something actually also penetrating in this particular sections to make it more kind of health focused or let's say personalized kind of nutrition. For example, let's say if we just talk about the Mondelez, so they have utilized a AI tool developed by the Fortune to manufacture the products like gluten-free golden Oreos. And for the biohacking foods, so they are also coming as the forefront of these snackification 3.0 movements to optimize health, cognition, and longevity. So such kind of biohacking foods, they are actually also includes the adaptogens and other nootropics to boost a specific mood or let's say energy, and also help you to focus. Upcycling ingredients, that's another interesting area where we can see, like, as a part of waste reduction technologies. So even that upcycling ingredients that offers some kind of very tasty eco-friendly options, and that may further resonates with sustainability conscious consumers. So just to give you examples, even that if I see, like, in the 2024, such kind of certified upcycling based snacks, their sales has been actually rising to 41.6% far comparing to the food and beverages industry as a whole, only 1.4%. So you can see like, almost 40 times, the growth rate we can see when it comes to the upcycled certified snacks category. So this is another, focus of most of the stakeholders to, further pursue the business around that. Mindful snacking. So of course, this is also the central aspect of the snackification 3.0 trend. So that is reflecting invitation towards the health conscious, or let's say eating habits. And further, we can see that globally, by the 2024 reports, the 96% of global consumers, they actually engage for the mindful snacking, with 81% focusing on the only just for the sensing experience of the taste and textures. So they want to have some kind of objective-oriented snacking categories for the mindful snacking. Functional indulgence. So that's another aspect, because at the any cost, they do not want to compromise the taste, or let's say sensory feeling of that particular snack. So it will have the functionality, but also those kind of savory and the indulgence profile to be completely well balanced and well matched. So of course, this trend should be kept in the mind of all those stakeholders who are actually working in this different innovations category. Now, just coming to the some of the funding overview, I'd like to share. For example, let's say in the very recent, a few years, we have seen approximately more than $110 million of recent investment that has been done from into the different startups from the different investors, like us, Circle of Growth Partners, for the developing the nootropic proteins part for the brain health. So likewise, Mintright, they had just got the series round fundings from the Diatic Machine and the Geogenas for the development of the nootropic bars. And in the certain cases, even that they are also getting the funding to further having the retail expansion for the same specific property of brain health. Likewise, if you see like Supergut, so they have also I think attracted a kind of a huge fund close to $36.2 million from the investor Full Frame Growth Partners for further product innovations and the retail expansion for the microbiome specific categories. Yeah. Now, just talking about some of the key launches and strategic moves by the key players. So very recent scenario we have taken, for example, say 2022 to 2025. So General Mills, they have launched a line of keto friendly snacks targeting children over 4 years for the digestive support and relieving the constipation. And these particular products having the fiber, bacillus virulence as a probiotics in the and produced formats of the bites, bars, and smoothies. Likewise, Believe, they have launched the Mighty Pop. So that's the first soda that contains the prebiotic, postbiotic, and the probiotic combination in a single drug and drink. And these all the different ingredients are USDA certified, and the specific concentration you can see how, for example, let's say it contains 1 billion live probiotics, 3 gram prebiotic fibers, so on and so forth. Coca-Cola, they have also launched a specific, Simply Pop, new line of, prebiotic sodas under its Simply brand for aiming to the compete the popular gut health and the beverages like poppies and the Olipops. So why they have chosen this particular Simply, because they want to spearhead its prebiotic soda launch, because it founds mainly very much suitable for the Gen Zers and the millennials. Now, if I just talk about the collaboration kind of scenario here, so the Coca-Cola and Kirin's, so they have actually done a kind of partnership to actually create a immune supporting health drinks that utilizes the Kirin's patented ingredients, lactobacillus lactis strains postbiotic. So these particular ingredients will be added into the Coca-Cola's different coffees, waters, and juice lines. So that's a way it will help Coca-Cola to gain the Japan's fast-growing functional beverage markets in the sales. Nestle has further partnered with the ABC background for the expediting research center at the University of this particular cork to explore the human microbiome's role. So, and for this collaboration is further intended to enhance the Nestle product development, particularly for the infant and the maternal nutrition. PepsiCo, they have partnered with this particular coffee. In fact, so they are actually planning to acquire this particular uh, prebiotic soda browns coffee for the close to $1.95 billion to strengthen and further being them as a first presence in the market of the functional beverages. So, and this particular the poppy, it is actually known for the very low sugar gut health focused sodas, and these acquisitions will align the overall PepsiCo strategies to offer more kind of functional and healthier benefit beverage options. Now, just coming to the quick overview of regulatory scenario. So, for example, let's say the regulations is actually more with respect to what kind of different functional claims, structural claims that it has, what kind of specific microorganisms are being used, whether they are actually approved by from the FDA, what kind of specific scientific evidence they are actually providing to uh, provide a specific kind of benefits in the different contexts. So it almost varies from the country to country. In fact, the European Union is also very much pro. For example, let's say right now they do not have any specific health claims with respect to the probiotics, but of course they can, if they can have the sufficient scientific evidence that demonstrate health benefits, like suppose the digestive health or let's say boost immunity. So those kind of the claims can be further used for product approvals. So likewise, if I just talk about the Middle East Africa, so they want to have the kind of safety requirements for all these probiotic products, and the further the minimum number of it that must be present in a specific probiotic material. So the threshold they are also defining and optimizing for the different testing probiotic products. Asia Pacific is also leading in this particular space. So in fact, if I just talk about the Japan, so the manufacturer, they need to provide the scientific evidence supporting all these health claims. In Australia, probiotic is classified as a health claims under the different standards code. And in Australia and New Zealand, health claims may be only supported by the scientific evidence with a certain degree of certainties, whether they are actually pre-approved or they're safe substitute from the food business. Now, just coming to the future outlook and innovation opportunities. So if you see the trend is shifting from the generic to the more personalizations. For example, let's say that right now we can see the cognitive physical performance dual action powders. So as I already highlighted, for example, let's say they want to prefer those kind of ingredients where we have at least two different meaningful action once I incorporate into the specific product. Because when we have a lot of different ingredients with a single properties, then overall the texture and the composition becomes very complex and it's not very acceptable. So hence those kind of cognitive physical with the dual action products are majorly preferred. Now further as we evolve, for example, let's say AI driven formulation that will further optimize the functional benefit combination by the advancement of different advanced machine learning, agentic AI, and other digital technologies to provide a kind of specific ingredient selections into to be used into a specific formulation and based on the different personal needs. So that's an area where we can see it will may further grow and further like some kind of real time microbiome monitoring. So for example, let's say as just like the let's say blood sugar, we have the real time machine, but of course once we have the microbiome based ingredients, so we want to see, for example, let's say how the overall situation and scenario of this microbiome is changing once it is going to your gut health systems. And if that the way further I can optimize by utilizing some different strains of this different microbiome. So it's a kind of real time the functional efficacy checks, effect checks, and in the meantime, if there is some kind of correction required with some synergistic dosing, or let's say altogether replacing some ingredients to have the overall very personalized output in terms of benefits. So this is the way actually overall this particular snackification 3.0 will be surfacing. Of course, we are currently at the 3.0, but of course, the way we are innovating, the technology is advancing. Of course, we are further entering into the Snackification 4.0. So of course, that will prevail into the markets for the at least 10 years, at least a decade, where they will have the more kind of different technology enabled different product developments, having more kind of adopted and very customized solution for everyone's need. So that's comes to the end of my presentation on this particular beautiful topic of Snackification 3.0.
Sorry, I was on mute. Thank you very much, Devendra, for this really insightful view on the market, on the snack market. I think you covered really a broad area, and we had a lot of interested people following us, and we are now in the Q&A session. So we have about approximately 10 minutes left. And so there were some questions. I start with the question from Bettina. I think she referred to your slide 17 because she wants to know if the projections you show for snacks only or for the full food and beverage market.
Yeah, so this position is only with respect to food and beverage markets, including the nutrition supplement as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Because ultimately, because why this particular restriction was required, because even that if I just talk about the microbiome, that it is actually having the huge application even at the pharma or other allied sectors. But here the context was more kind of nutrition.
Okay. There was another question which is related to Europe. This came in from Eugenia. So she's asking, in Europe, we always face challenges with the health claims regulation, and we cannot use certain claims on products because they are not registered health claims. How do you handle this? Do you consider the allowed health claims? So I think it's covered something on the slides you had close to the end where you were talking about the legislation.
Yes. So yeah, so if you are very true on this particular context, because in the Europe, even that there is no specific health claims, but of course, if there is a kind of let's say probiotic is being used, so at least in the labeling we can mention like it contains probiotics, and that further it can be inferred from the user's point of view. For example, it's definitely it will have the corresponding gut health benefits, but as such I think right now we cannot use the, let's say, the corresponding outcome as a label in for the promoting my different products. So this may actually mislead and further deviate. For example, let's say if I just say the gut health benefits, so probably maybe they will be just trying to address that gut health from the different ingredients, but the moment I say probiotics, so it becomes more kind of a genuine and real-time scenarios with respect to ingredient as a main stamp, as a main punch on the label. Yeah.
Oh, meanwhile, another question came in. Is it a good idea to functionalize all food concepts beyond their actual role in our diet?
Yes. Yeah. So that's a question. That's just a remark.
It's marked with a question mark, so I think it's a question.
Okay. So can you please repeat that question? And
yes, of course. Maybe it's also a comment. Is it a good idea to functionalize all food concepts beyond their actual role in our diet?
No, I think that will be difficult, because even that if you want to functionalize everything, it should have some kind of evidence. For example, let's say if I am functionalizing So for what specific, the clinical efficacy or the benefits actually I am functionalizing. So once it will go to the regulatory phase, definitely we need to, provide all those kind of, scientific evidence in order to get the market authorization for that particular products. So somewhere we will be definitely caught if we want to just go with our own perception of, functionalizing these ingredients for any diet. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. So other questions to Devendra? There came also again a question about the if we are sending this the slide deck out to the participants. As I said, you will receive a summary from the webinar, including a link to the complete recorded version. So I would assume that you have also the slides in this
Yes.
recorded version.
Yes, exactly. We will also have the recorded version. In fact, all the data points that we have considered into the slide as well as you can see their corresponding sources. So for the validation or the credibility check, that can be also done. So of course, we will do that on our.
Okay. Any other questions so far? Okay, yes, of course, we will stay in contact. So there's thanks for your answers from a participant. Thanks for your answer and info. Let's stay in contact. Of course, we do, which builds a perfect bridge to my closing comment. So I think and I hope you got a really good impression about what Ingenious eBrain can deliver in terms of insights for a specific topic. Write us your comments and ideas about future, what is in the interest in scope for future webinars for you. You can also contact us if you have some specific topics. We are very happy to go back to you and discuss, and maybe we find also ways to collaborate, because it's a very interesting area, and to join forces and to get more out of this future topic. Let's take it this way. With that, it's I leave it up to you to ask the final question. If not, we are again, thank you for joining the webinar, and we are happy to reach out to you if you have further questions. And as I said, you get all these recorded version afterwards, that you have the opportunity to recap our today's event. Thank you very much for joining us, and have a good night. Have a good day wherever you joined us. Thanks.
Thank you, everyone.